अच्छा तो दोस्तों आज कैरेक्टरिस्टिक ऑफ रोमांटिक पोट्री को डिस्कस करेंगे। इससे पिछली की वीडियो में हमने रोमांटिसिज्म को डिस्कस किया कि व्हाट इज रोमांटिसिज्म एंड फ्रॉम विच दैट इट romanticism movement started, so okay, and what were the lyrical ballads that was in initial points in the history of romantic periods. So today we're going to talk about characteristic of romantic poetry. What are the main characteristics and what are the main themes inside the romantic poetry. Okay, so very is very interesting, so must watch till to the end you can understand the main characteristic of romantic poetry. First of all, if you are new with the channel तो काइंडली चैनल को ज़रूर सब्सक्राइब करें और बेल के आइकन को दबाएं ताकि आपको इंग्लिश लिटरेचर के हवाले से, इंग्लिश लिंग्विस्टिक के हवाले से या इंग्लिश ग्रामर के हवाले से इस तरह वीडियो वक्त पे मिल जाए. So let's take a start from the characteristic of romantic poetry. The first characteristic that come into our mind about romantic poetry is what? That is interest in the common man and childhood. रोमांटिक पोइट्री की जो मेन इंटरेस्ट है उस किस चीज में है, वो कॉमन मैन में है. इसका मतलब है क्या है कॉमन मैन में? आम आदमी, ठीक है. चाइल्डहुड स्पेशली द चिल्ड्रंस आर डिस्कस इन मेनी ऑफ द पॉइंट्स. The innocency, especially childhood, mean innocence here, because most of the poetry of romantic age shows the innocence of the mankind. So common man is what? Common man आम आदमी जो हमारे माशरे में रहते हैं, सोसाइटी में रहते हैं, उसको डिस्कस किया. इससे पहले जो विक्टोरियन नहीं तो मिडिवल क्लास या एलिजाबेथ पोइट्री थी, ठीक है, या जॉन मिल्टन की ज़्यादातर पोइट्री देखी, या चौसर की जो पोइट्री है इनिशियल स्टेजेस में, वो क्या करती थी? वो ज़्यादातर किंग्स के बारे में, प्रिंसेस के बारे में पोइट्री लिख के करती थी, ठीक है. And there was no importance to the common man. But when the romantic movement started after the publication of lyrical ballad by S.T. Coleridge and William Wordsworth, so they take much interest in the common man poetry. तो कॉमन मैन में वो ज़्यादातर इंटरेस्ट, आम आदमी मुआशरे के जो हम हमारे जैसे मिडिल क्लास होती है, ठीक है, उसको ज़्यादातर डिस्कस किया है. तो यू कीप दिस सॉरी यू कीप दिस पॉइंट इन माइंड इट they take interest in the common man, ठीक है, not in the kings and the queens. Okay, when you read about William Wordsworth, John Keats, Percy Bysshe Shelley, yeah, Astor College, so they are discussed the common man, the common natures. Okay, apart from this, the next is strong senses, emotions, and feelings. Much of the romantic poetry is full of emotions, senses, feelings. They are much interested in these things. Okay, so they are much interested is they write poems which are full of emotions, full of feelings, and full of senses. Imagery is much as there in the poems of romantic poets. Okay, so they take interest in these things. Feeling and emotions are much there. They consider that poetry shouldn't be what? Poetry shouldn't be not on base of any rules and regulations. They are just against the classical, new classical age. They just break these rules and regulations which were fixed by the new classical writer, especially Jonathan Swift or Alexander Pope, that should be right in the Homeric form or etc. Okay, so these bondage were what they are break down by whom? By the romantic poets. So they say that poetry is not something on reason etc. Poetry is something emotional things. They just come into the minds when a person sits in tranquilities. They think about the natures. They think about something beautiful. So that is the poetry. Poetry, when you write about some reasons, things, so that is not a poetry. That is just type of essays. Okay, so third point of natures. They are much interested in the natures because Wordsworth is called the poet of natures. Okay, all of the poems you if you read it, especially is on the clouds, Eastminster Bridge, etc., these on Milton's. So in the most poem he discussed the natural beauty, he discussed the nature's things, okay, natural things, the beauty of clouds, the beauty of flowers, especially solitary reapers. If you read that, is much interesting and much beautiful poem of William Wordsworth. So he discussed the natures, that nature is everything and nature is something very fascinating if a person make it beautiful. Okay, so it depends on the mind. Okay, so celebrations of the individuals. ज़्यादातर जो पोइट्री है स्पेशली आप वर्ड्सवर्थ या जॉन किट्स की ले ले तो उसने अपनी इंडिविजुअलिटी इसमें शो किया है जो अब उसकी अपनी ट्रॉमास थी जो उसकी फैंस थी against because he fell in love with Penny Brown. So he is much suffered in this thing because of many diseases. His whole family was caused death by tuberculosis. He himself in the age of 26 by caused his death by the tuberculosis. ठीक है टीबी की वजह से उसकी डेथ वाक़ हुई तो ज़्यादातर इंडिविजुअलिटी शो की गई है रोमांटिक पोइट्री के अंदर पर्सनल फीलिंग आर डिस्कस इन and romantic poetry. So this point should be kept in mind that romantic poetry is much individual in nature, which is very against the poetry of new classical age. Okay, so let's come to another more important characteristic of romantic poetry, that is the importance of imaginations. Okay, so imagination are also a main topic inside, and it is a considered characteristic of romantic poetry. You should be kept in mind that imagination is much in the romantic poetry. So this also included in the characteristic of romantic poetry. Apart from this, द सेल्फ एक्सप्रेशन इंडिविजुअल इंडिविजुअलिज्म तो डिस्कस किया ठीक है सेल्फ एक्सप्रेशन के बारे में जो पर्सन की सेल्फ एक्सप्रेशन होते हैं सेल्फ फीलिंग्स होते हैं ठीक है ज़्यादातर रोमांटिक एज के अंदर ये डिस्कस किया स्पेशली जॉन कीट्स की जो पोइट्री है ज़्यादातर उसने अपनी ही जो ट्रॉमास थी उसके जो अपनी लाइफ की कॉम्प्लिकेशंस थी उसको डिस्कस की है ठीक है तो वी शुड keep this point in mind that there is self expressions and individualism in romantic poetry. Okay, apart from this, celebration of beauty of nature is discussed in the romantic age poetry. Okay, they are represented the nature especially in very vividly. Okay, vividly they just mention describe the nature that their flowers, their hills, their meadows. Okay, look at the William Words poetry. They are full of natural things such as flowers, clouds, sky. Okay, river, etc. West Incident Bridge. These things are all discussed in William Wordsworth poetry. Apart from this, to them the poet is visionary figure. Visionary figures is there because of mystical poetry. Look at they are just a dreamy poet, especially supernatural poet. He is considered. William Wordsworth is considered natural poet because he discusses natures, and Estical is considered as supernatural poet because of his poetry about some dreamy because he dreamed something like in Koblahan. This was a dreamy poems. Okay, apart from this, his Crestable. Okay, and many other poems he wrote about. So he wrote about these things, just describe the supernatural thing and natural things. Okay, apart from this, an interest in the primitive form of art, primitive form of Hellenism, because of John Kitt was much influenced from the Hellenic art, especially of the classical art just like the Grecian on. This is in ode of John Keats. So he described the especially the art of the classical age. So they are much interesting in these things also. So the themes in romantic poetry was what? There are four main themes in romantic poetry. That is nature, faith, and feelings, use of sample language, and imagination. So these four themes are in romantic poetry. Thank you.